Oh, there it is. There it is. I saw the light. I saw the light. That means we're live. This is Theodore Rossi, formerly Juice of Sons of Anarchy, now about 15 different people. Say hello to Andrea,
Hey.
Beth, Bridget,
Hi.
Flo,
Hello.
and Sam.
Hello.
It's ladies' night here on the Google Hangout. And basically, you know, I guess we were going live. This is all news to me, but I know we always do. I don't know why, for some reason, I had in my head we were going to not be this one. But great that we are. Go Get It Life is, I've been involved in a lot of cool things. This has been, I've said it a bunch. This is kind of cool. If you guys could see on the other side the emails we get, they're pretty incredible. Some people who just stumble on and write these emails, and some people who are with it every single day. You know, they say, like, you know, the walk of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. It's pretty amazing. These little differences you see every day. So this was kind of cool because it got us to raise money for our charities, which we love doing. And at the same time, it's got these amazing, comfortable T-shirts. And there was, like, one of my favorite movies is the original. I have to stress that the original Willy Wonka and the Golden Ticket and all that. So it was, and it was completely random. We were so worried. I'm like, people are gonna think like we're cheating. I've met Flo before. You know, we've hung out. I was like, is somebody gonna think? But no, that was totally random, and it just so happened to be all girls, which is great. So I want to just do this different. I'm exhausted of my own voice, and I'm kind of sick of talking. But any questions, like literally anything. There's so much going on in our life. Obviously, before we went live, a lot of people saw Mego running around, and we're getting real close. Real close. Could happen right in the middle of this Google Hangout, which would be crazy. I'd take the computer with me. Everyone would be with me. Nobody wants to see that.
Best hangout ever.
But yeah, it's a trip. You know, finishing the show, fatherhood. You know, about to start my third film next week. Second film after the show went. Third film. Second film.
Well, second film afterwards. Yeah.
Second film after we wrapped the show. And it's been absolute madness and absolute love and beauty and all that. But this is Go Get It Life, and this is one of my favorite things because it's actually doing things. So you guys have all been involved. You know, you saw this. You know, and either way, even if it was just for this contest or whatever, it somehow took you to Go Get It Life. You know, into the world of it, and you know, it's just people helping people, which at the end of the day is kind of what is one of the beauties of social media. So just say hello. We'll start going down the line. Tell me where you are, what you're doing, and that you were, and tell everybody that you were convinced you were going to win this. You knew it right off the bat that you were going to win, and you were hoping that no one else won. Just tell them the truth. Andrea, you go first.
Okay, I'm Andrea. I'm in Iowa.
And Slipknot. Yeah.
What was that?
Slipknot. They're from Iowa, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we're true. And my best friend was convinced that I was going to win this. She kept telling me from day one, and then I finally told her, and she got all excited. And then because of the way you pronounced my name in the video, she will only say my name like that now. And she's like, oh, he made it sound so exotic. Why isn't your name really like that? So now I get to be Andrea.
Andrea. I did. I made it sound exotic.
It's a hard name. My last name's weird, too. It's always pronounced wrong, so I'm just going to be more exotic sounding, and I'm okay with that.
So I did a good job with the name.
Yeah.
Good. Flo told me the same thing, so I like that. That's good. That means I'm I'm eloquent in my quick words, my improv skills.
Yeah.
Awesome. Beth?
I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
My friend Laura.
What's up, Laura?
Drag her into this too. I actually was a little bit, the first night that you guys posted the contest, I had actually gone and bought a shirt, and for whatever reason, it didn't go through. So the next day, I actually was freaking out because I didn't see the debit through my bank account, and I was, no, all these shirts are going to be gone, 100 tickets are going to be gone, I'm not going to get a ticket. And then I was like, and then it actually went through, and I was like once I got my shirt with the ticket in it, because I didn't know if I,
Right.
at that point, I didn't know until I got the shirt, and then I got the shirt, and I was like, you know what, it was meant to happen. It was meant for me to not get that other number. I can't get this, so.
That's how it happens.
Do it. It was kismet. It was meant to happen.
That's so cool. See, I actually believe in things like that. So, you know, it's like when you stop to tie your shoelaces and like a bus flies by, or you know, you go back to get your keys or something, and something happens. I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, me too. If there's traffic and I'm stopped, there's a reason why I'm stopped.
Well, that's very cool. I like to hear that. Okay, where are we at? Bridget, you're in. You're here.
I'm Bridget, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
What's up, man?
All right. And when I seen the post and I entered my story and got the T-shirt, I didn't know if I was going to get it or not. And then when I heard you call my name, like the 7th one, I was just so excited. And you actually pronounced my last name right. Most people doesn't pronounce that right.
Hey, look what's going on here. You know, I might never get that kind of streak again where I get 3 names right, but that's good. That means, man, you know, I knew I went to school for a reason. Flo, how are you, Flo?
I'm good, Theo. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, Flo. When was the last time we saw each other? Was in St.
Niagara on the lake.
Yeah, Niagara. Yeah.
And the very last thing I said to you before you left was marry that girl. And so when I found out all this, I was really happy, and congratulations. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Flo.
And yeah, you did my name perfectly. It's really Floriana, so it was the first one. And I bought a shirt like a while ago, and then I saw the post that there was a contest, and I too love Willy Wonka, and I always wanted a golden ticket when I was little, so I thought I have to do it. And you know, I just got in under the wire. I was like, I don't know, should I do it? But I did, and I've entered so many of these contests so that, you know, I've got to win eventually. So
I'm so glad you did, and you know, it was great when we were at Flo and I were at an event. We did a charity. It was just Tig and I, right? It was just Tim and I? Yeah. And we were in St. Kitts, Niagara. I think that might have actually been one of the last that we've done. I think, you know, we haven't been able to do really any. I haven't. I'm hoping to. I know Kim's been doing them. I'm hoping to get out there at one point when I get a break to just somewhere. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm trying. So that was that was actually a really good one, because we were on like a golf course and we were all eating and kind of hanging and doing that, and that was a lot of fun. And always when I'm with that lunatic, it's kind of fun. Sam, how are you? Samantha.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I live in Wisconsin. I'm way up in the Northwoods. Really little town with like 9,000 people.
Yeah, I've been to Wisconsin many times because of it.
I actually had every intention of entering the contest, but I wasn't sure I was going to have the extra money for the T-shirt. So I kind of just accepted that, okay, I can't enter this time, maybe next time. And then the 17th of April, the day of the deadline, I went into my account and I had just enough for the T-shirt. So I'm like, you know what, whatever, let's just do it, see what happens. So when I won, I mean, it was fantastic. I was very excited.
That's my sister's birthday too. See,
really?
Yeah, 17. 17 is a very big number for all of us. So that's a really lucky number in these parts over here with us. So that's very cool. Yeah, we're you know, it's funny, you know, because right now T-shirts are the only way that we're kind of raising for different charities, obviously AVSP, Boot Campaign, and a lot of other things we're doing. Soon enough, we're going to start making the, because we understand, and I understand more than anything, shipping and this and that. So we're going to start doing where stickers will be available.
Cool.
And just the sticker that usually comes, so people could just buy them. We'll make different variations of the sticker for, laptops, phones, and just basically showing people that you're kind of representing, GoGetItLIFE, which will be a lot easier because it'll just be going out in just a regular envelope with kind of regular postage, and it's something we're working on right now. So we're pretty excited about that.
Awesome.
Because really, at the end of the day, it's just, we're trying to just do kind of like a little movement here, kind of like just to show people, we this, like I've always said, and I think I said this on the last one, this thing really started as a way for me to motivate myself. It's not easy, getting up every day and just kind of being like, I got to do this, let's do this, unless you're a complete psychopath. It's kind of hard, everybody's going to be, you get down, you get whatever, but the way I've always felt it is by hearing other people's stories, by kind of, reading things or thinking about things of why, you should pursue and live your best life possible. That's kind of where GoGetItLIFE came from for me. It started really just as a hashtag way back in the day. And then it was just a way where I said, man, if everybody could just kind of tell their stories, it might be a nice way to motivate each other. And just for example, this last, this bullying, anti-bullying week we just did, it's just so incredibly successful, and having people share their stories. And I think a lot of times just having people be able to voice the struggles they're going through an email, to just write it out, is cathartic in its own sense. So we're really happy with it, and it's crazy that it's only a couple months old and how fast and all that it's growing. So it's really cool. It's a very interesting thing. So I thank you all for being a part of it. And it's funny, I wrote something recently, on Twitter, because I go through all these, self things too, right? It's like, asking, I like to ask people questions a lot, about, especially because the business has changed so much for me, from my end. Like when I started this 15 years ago, I can only imagine for a lot of the older people, who are in it, because, we all know there's two separate lives for ones of us that are older. There's the life before the internet, and there's the life after the internet, right? And there's the world before it and the world after it. And we're able to do things like this, which I think is pretty cool. Like, I would never think, for me being a young kid back in the day, if I could be talking to, I don't know, Robert De Niro or something, if I loved, or even for a sports player, if I Patrick Ewing or somebody that I really liked, and I think that the connection here is really great, because we kind of get to, you kind of, if you're in a position where you kind of have, where you can kind of motivate people, I think that if you don't use it, I've said it publicly a lot, that I think if you're in this business, whether it be an athlete, a singer, anything of any, where people are kind of paying attention and you don't use it for good, I truly think you're a raging jackass. I do. I just do. I have a really hard time with it, and I almost want to confront a lot of people who don't do it, because what's the point, right? I mean, what's the point? You can't just be really that into yourself all the time, right? I guess most of these idiots are. Andrea, tell me what's up. Ask me something. Tell me what's going on.
So a couple of years back, I went skydiving in Paris, and you were there.
Yeah, with Ryan Hurst.
But rumors are that you went, I think, the year before, and that it was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
So, what happened with your jump?
Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. Nobody in their right mind, I'll do anything. Right? I'm a big believer in, I'll do anything once. I'll try anything. Hurst, Opie, to other people, he's relentless. The kid's absolutely relentless. And when he wants you to do something, he's relentless. He leans on you. And for years, you know, he was just like, you're coming, you're coming, you're going, you're going, you're going. And when he wants something, he gets it, you know. And I, to kind of shut him up, was like, yeah, I'll go. Thinking that I'll never go. I'll never really go.
Yeah.
And we went. And he actually, you know, was in the car with me to make sure that I went. And he was like, you're going to love it. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. Because we had done the indoor skydiving, a bunch of us. We used to do it all the time, kind of at Universal where you're in the tube and you do it.
Yeah.
A lot different than jumping out of a plane, by the way. Just in case anybody's thinking they're similar, they're not at all. And when we got up on this plane, I felt like, I don't know if they had no more planes left and they just put us on one that was probably going to, like, you know, go down or something. This thing was shaking. It was broken. There was something wrong with the plane, and I knew when I was up there that I wished I was anywhere else but there. But then I just did it because I had a guy attached to me, you know, tandem, because you have to do it like that, and he kind of went out, and I refused to look down, and I did it, and I'm really glad it's over. And I'll tell you this. I will never do it again unless the plane's on fire. unless I have to jump out because I don't even know if I'd ever jump out again. Because the truth is, people say you're going to love it, you're going to want to do it all the time after you're done. That's not true at all, actually. When I was done, I did not ever want to do it again because I believe you don't spit in God's face twice. I'm here.
True.
So that's my Paris story. But I did go back the next year. I just didn't do it, I don't think. I didn't jump that time, right?
I don't think so. I think
who jumped?
Ryan and Emilio did, for sure. Because they were in our plane.
Yeah. Not for me. A lot of things are for me. Not for me.
But that's not it?
That's not it. No. That's definitely. I'd rather go run a marathon.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll stick over here. Stick on the ground. Beth, in Chicago, your Blackhawks are in trouble.
Well, actually, I think they did really well last night. I don't watch sports much, but hockey I do love.
How can you live in Chicago? It's like when Kim and I were there, we went to a Blackhawk game. He was on the ice, which was really funny, actually.
For me, like boxing, I don't know why two men want to beat each other up.
Yeah.
Not attractive to me, but slap some skates on them and throw a puck down, and I am screaming for them to hit each other because it's just
crazy.
Like, really toothless smiles. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. So you know,
I can imagine.
It's a lot of fun, but I do have a skydiving story too.
Oh, let me hear this.
When my nephew got out of the Marines, like in my family, I used to be known as the audacious one. My mom always used to call me her audacious daughter, and because I would do things like I met some friends online through. They lived in Turkey, and I knew them for about a year and a half, and the one invited me to her wedding, and I was like, you know, we Skyped, so I knew she was her, you know, and
right.
Her wedding in Turkey, you know, and I bought them a pepperoni pizza. I smuggled it in, you know, like so I would do stupid stuff like that. And
how was Turkey?
Huh?
How
was Turkey? Awesome. I stayed in Istanbul, and they love blondes over there. And the one grandma, she was about 3 feet high, and every time she saw me, she would just come up to me. She didn't speak any English, and she would just pat my face and then walk away. And it was like the funniest thing. Like it was awesome. But when my nephew got back from the Marines, he wanted to go skydiving, and he's like, "Come on, Aunt Beth, come with me." And I'm all right. I'm like, right, or Jason, I really, you know, I like scuba diving. I like being below the Earth's surface, but not necessarily above it. That like really scared me, the thought of it. And he's like, "No, come on." He's like, "I really want to do this," and I'm like, "Oh." All right, so we had it planned out where we were going to go, and he ended up having to work overtime that weekend. And he said, you know, I can't do it this weekend. Don't come in. We'll do it the following weekend. The original weekend that we were supposed to do it, the plane went up, everybody jumped out, and then the plane crashed. So I was so happy.
You just proved my entire point.
left on that plane because I wouldn't have jumped. I'm like, I would have been on the plane and I still would have. So I was so happy that I didn't. And then he was like, well, are you going to come out next week? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to stay here.
There's the PSA for why I will not do it again. That's exactly.
It was. So.
Wow, I'm glad you weren't on that plane. And I'm glad.
Me too.
Wow. See, Andrea, that's exactly why. Bridge, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, I don't have any skydiving stories.
No, good.
I'm terrified of heights. I like to stay on the ground.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes. I do have a question. Do you still ride after you finish SOA?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny. I have 3 bikes. I'm very fortunate. I have 3 motorcycles, and I permanently, after Suns ended, fully reside in New York City now. And I shipped my 3 bikes back here, assuming that I would be riding in New York City. I haven't been living in New York City. I haven't lived in New York City. I've always been here when the show ended for a couple of months, but I haven't fully lived in New York City in a couple of years, in many years, actually, when you think about it. Couple of things. The winters are really long, and they're absolutely brutal. My Chicago friends know that. Canadians, everybody knows that. Wisconsin, I mean, we all know that. New York has been getting massacred with snow. Number 2, the potholes are the size of Volkswagens out here. So if you do ride a motorcycle, because of the snow damage, there's a very good chance you're going to be flying over the handlebars. So I had 3 bikes out here. The third one being they gave us, the bike from the show, which is amazing. I have the bike that I rode on the show for 7 years. And just last week, because I'm heading out to Los Angeles to shoot this movie for a while, and I seem to be going out to Los Angeles a bunch. I just shipped one of my bikes out 3 days ago, and I will now keep it there. And when I'm in Los Angeles, I ride every day. So, yeah, I actually have a really hard time being in a car in Los Angeles because if you haven't been there, they don't move when you're in them. They just stay there. It takes about 2 hours to get about 100 feet. But in motorcycles, you could split lanes. So,
Right.
So one of my favorite bike is on its way there now, and it'll be there by the time I arrive. And I'm really excited to jump back on because I haven't been on. Besides pulling it, in and out of the garage and starting it up for like friends, I haven't been on a bike since I left right after the final season. So that had to be November, end of November. Yeah, which is weird when you ride every day. But in New York, you take cabs and subways and ferries and stuff, so it's a little different. But yeah, great question. I'm really excited. Next Monday, I'll be back on my bike. Yeah, great question. Flo, what's up?
Not much. I will never go skydiving or on a cruise. So
there you go. I didn't even know how a cruise got lumped into skydiving, but I'm with you on both.
I just, won't do it. The whole thing. I don't like it. But I did run a 5K recently, which was, first in a long time since like high school. But just your little hashtag just kind of got in my head, and all your inspirational posts and the things that you guys do and following you just it just kind of ripples, does a trickle down effect and it ripples out. So it's really influenced my life and made a big impact.
How did you do in the 5K? How'd you feel?
I was, it was hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's just a good start, and I plan to continue. And I've got a lot of support. So
it's a great start. It's better than a great start. Most people. I started running years ago when I kind of made this switch in my life. I'd always played sports my whole life, so it always ran. But I didn't start running, like really running, till season I judge my life by like the seasons of suns. Season, the end of season 3. So that's when I really started, like, you know, kind of getting focused and all that. And, you know, the funny thing is, because I used to smoke and stuff. I used to do all that stuff. And I couldn't run a mile. And I thought I was in, like, really good shape. And, you know, now I run, you know, marathons. And the funny thing, what I was going to tell you, is a lot of people who run every day still have a, you know, this weird thing about running races. Like, they just have this, you know, they can't do it. So the fact that you signed up and ran a race is absolutely incredible, and it's kind of exactly what I hope, you know, when Go Get It Life kind of got launched. It's little things like that that literally make me that make me get so excited. And when I'm running, the truth is, when I'm out running yesterday, is when I come up with kind of most of the things that I hope to do with Go Get It Life, and I hope to accomplish on a weekly basis. So, congratulations. That's it's huge. Don't let anybody tell you anything more than it's huge. And, you know, I don't care. You know, a little over 3 miles. I don't care what anybody says. It's tremendous. It's a big, huge accomplishment. So, congrats. Sam, what's up?
Actually a lot. I was going to say not much, but that's not true. Right now I am juggling work, school, being a new mom, and I also run a little side business. Actually, my question for you, though, I wanted to ask you and Megan both, what are your biggest fears about becoming a parent?
Oh, man. I could go through many. I did this, you know, it's funny. I did this Emmy thing recently for the LA Times. I was out in LA, and someone asked me, you know, the interviewer asked me something similar, and I thought about it for a second, and what hit me is something that I've kind of stuck with. My biggest fear among the million that come with, you know, I think being a first-time parent, is the world is such an incredibly different place from when I grew up, like incredibly different. And when I look at my nieces and nephews and my friends' kids and all that, I lived such a different life growing up in New York and probably anywhere in this world, you know, because like most people before this, the world got really small recently. And I used to I would come home from school, I would get on my bike, and I would go out, and my mom would yell for dinner, or one of the other. You knew when kids were going home that it was time to go to dinner, and then I'd go right back out. And when I started playing sports, I played sports after school, and then I went out. And in the summer, I stayed out longer. And you know, it's where I learned everything. It's where I learned how to, you know, everything from playing manhunt. It's where I learned how to fight. It's where I learned how to kiss girls. It's where I learned my entire life being outside. And the older kids, you know, and then on Halloween, everybody would run around with eggs and shaving cream, and you know, and it was such an outdoor life, even in New York City. It was just, you know, and when I was 14, we were in bars, and we learned how to make fake IDs. We were so, like, in, you know, industrial. We were just very, like, we figured things out, and I felt like we knew things. And now, when I meet people who, you know, kids who are 17, I almost feel like they're like kind of like we were when we were 11 or 10. It's changed a lot. So my biggest fear is, what's the world going to look like in 12 years for this kid, 10 years? How the world is moving so fast that if you just want to really freak out for a second, it's 2015. If you go back 10 years ago, which isn't a tremendous amount of time, 2005, technology was completely different. The world was completely different. And I'm one of those people that's very aware of things. I'm very aware of, like, how movies have changed tremendously. Yeah. I'm very aware of how people's attention has changed, you know, in general. And we have no attention span. We want things now. We want them right now. We want them right now. We want them right now. And if we don't get them right now, we get angry, and then we get anxious, and I'm worried of how I can slow my child's life down. How can I not make him or her be in such a rush to, get a phone at 9 years old? I wouldn't want a phone when I was 9 years old. I didn't want to be on the phone. I hated the phone. So I just hope that they can sustain relationships. That's it. And be manners and just learn the things that I learned on the street, and learn by being outside. And when I say the street, it was just about being outside, being with people from all different walks of life, being aware, and not being so sheltered. So we'll see. That's my biggest fear right now.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. How old is your child, boy or girl?
Boy, he's 15 months.
Yeah.
I have the same wants for my son too. Right now when we go to the park, he will run up to strangers, like kids, and he'll try to play with them and hug them. And the other parents give me these looks like, get your kid away from them,
Right.
And I don't know what's wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. And that's the thing. There is nothing wrong with it. And the thing is, the things have become wrong with it. And this is where, I start to get, sometimes this is where you go into, you want to almost, get into, isolation mode. And I find myself, fighting against doing that, because it's I want my kid to be out there. And I'm lucky. I live in a place where I'm surrounded by people I grew up with. I'm surrounded by family, friends, and and people I've trusted. I've had the same friends since you're kind of allowed to have friends. So all my friends, I trust with my life. And I remember when I was younger, I always thought this was really interesting. My uncle, who was my best friend, he passed in 2004. He took a very big hand in raising me, and he said something. I remember when I was young and crazy, and I had a million friends, and I was running around, and he said, when you're older, your family is going to be the closest thing to you. You're lucky if you can count, the people you trust and love on one hand. And I was like, are you crazy? I have millions of friends. I have this and that. And you know what? As you get older, it's extremely true. You start to really take quality over quantity, and that's kind of how my life has become. So I understand completely. Just let your attitude for your child is exactly right. It's the other people who you don't have to worry about them. You only got to worry about you. Oh, here he comes.
How long have you known Mona?
I've known Mona since I was allowed to know people. I don't even know when we actually first met. I just know that we've known each other forever. We grew up right next to each other. We've played sports together our whole lives. He's been, my ace, my right-hand man forever. And he's truly one of the most incredible human beings. I've never met someone who doesn't like him, which is weird. You can't say that on most people. There are people who don't like me. Yeah, I understand. But he's just, everybody likes him, and he would do anything for anyone. There's not many people like that. That would, he thinks way more about other people than he does before himself, which is really admirable in this world, because we live in a very me society right now. And sometimes to his own detriment, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to kind of take care of yourself. And sometimes in taking care of yourself, help others. What, Flo?
Oh, exactly. I know
Say that again?
exactly what you mean. It's true.
Yeah. And I found that, sometimes Rocco's getting comfortable right behind me. This is his personality, right? He wants to know why I'm on this couch, and he's, yeah. Yeah, buddy, lay down. I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. You want to come on? Go ahead. Come on. If you're going to go sit. This dog is incredible. Carefree is what they nicknamed him. My friend nicknamed him, and it's true. He's absolutely carefree, this stuff. I love him. So tell me, I mean, I think a big thing that a lot of people like to hear, and I think, and I'll answer the question as well too, is Flo just kind of touched on it for her own life, which is, it's just pretty amazing, right? Getting out and doing something that, you weren't doing yesterday, or you weren't doing a month ago, or you definitely weren't doing a year ago, is kind of the whole process of everything. Not just Go Get It Life, but kind of like everything, right? The saddest thing in the world to me is when I run into someone and they're the exact same person they were when I saw them a year ago. They're telling the same story. They're doing the same thing. Nothing's changed. And I understand if they're content in that, but I felt like, for me, I feel like the reason we're here is kind of to evolve, right? To get better, to get stronger, to get faster, to get smarter, to get more, to get more family oriented, to get better. That's what we do every day, right? And all I'm trying to do is be better than I was yesterday. So with Flo's story, it kind of touches on it, right? With Go Get It Life, that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're just saying that, hey, newsflash, we're not going to be here forever. You know what I mean? And all these things that we think we can hold out on or wait for, maybe that's not, maybe that's not the greatest idea, because things change pretty quick. We all know that. So my thing would be like, for Andrea, let's say, right, and Beth and Flo, and if we heard Flo's, what are ways what is something you want to do, that you want to come, as small as, like, literally, like you said, getting your kid to kind of, live the kind of life you lived. What are things that you guys want to do one by one? Start with Bridget.
One of the things I want to do is being able to make a difference. I like to use my past to share, like, experience and strength and hope to help others. It's a passion of mine to be able to reach out and help other people.
Yeah, that's and our experiences, I felt, and I've come to realize, are exactly, because the truth is everybody could relate to somebody, right? Everybody could relate to somebody. And your experiences, if you tell 100 people, 99 people might not get anything from it, but one person will. And the truth is, like, that's it. That's all you need, right? That's the whole point. So, and I think more people go through what we think is so unique to us, or I went through this and no one else in the world is going through this. I think that's, I mean, I've come to find in my own life that I think it's, it's kind of self-centered, because there's billions of people. Like, people have gone through exactly what you're going through, and they've beat exactly what you're going through, and they've gone through it, and they've come out the other side. So I think that our story, whatever that story is extremely important to share with people. Life's too short not to. So that's a great thing, Bridge. Great. Beth, what about you?
For me, the things that I wish, like, I have two kids. They're grown. My daughter is 24. My son's 22. And when I look at my kids, I'm in awe of them. My daughter wants to help animals for a living. My son wants to help people, human beings, for a living. He wants to work for Amnesty International or something like that. And I look at this world, and what I wish, and I think part of what I got to do, I used to travel a lot. I've been to a lot of Europe and a lot of different countries in the world, and I don't do the touristy things. I like to go and see the area the way that, yeah, like real life. I don't want to eat at some fancy restaurant because it's, on some list somewhere. I like sitting down and talking to, like, the actual people that live there, and yeah. I think that you get an appreciation for that culture. You can say whatever you want about a culture that you've never been to, but it's wrong until you've been there. And I wish the world could get to know the rest of the world, like hand in hand, and that's what I would love to do. I would love to. Well, it's not just a world peace. It's just, like when I went to Turkey, my mom was terrified that I was going to be kidnapped, and sent to jail or done, and I'm like, it wasn't like that at all. Like everybody was so unbelievably nice there, and I wish that. And my dad hates France. He's like, oh, they're so rude, but he's never been to France, I'm like.
Yeah. He's only saying what he heard.
So nice, they're like so nice, and I wish that everyone in the world could just get to know everybody else. I wish I don't know how to go about doing that, except for to tell my experiences and say.
That's it right there. You took the words out of my mouth. I think what it is as simple as putting that to a message and posting it on GoGetItLIFE. Just sharing with people. Yeah. I've been to this place and I've been to this place and this is my experience. And I've been to this place. And maybe someone who's always wanted to go there. Maybe there was something in Turkey they were dying to see, or maybe there was something in Paris or a different part of France that they were dying to see, and that your letter, your message might motivate them to go, wow, I actually thought that too. I thought that the people, listen, France is, one of our favorite places. Paris is. Yeah. My hope is to live there. Yeah. The point. So I think the people are absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
Listen, I come from, I live in New York City. People say that about us all the time, and I've been lucky enough to be all over, and maybe besides Canadians, New Yorkers are like the nicest people on the planet. So I don't buy into any of that. So just sharing your story is the way to do that, and that's again, not to keep, punching, banging the GoGetItLIFE drum. That's kind of what GoGetItLIFE is. It's just sharing your story and telling it. Yeah. So if you do that, that's the way to get the message across. Sam, what about you?
You said Sam, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. You cut out, so. Well, my dream is to make a difference in troubled children. That's kind of what I'm going to school for. I guess the best way that I know how to start that is with my own kids, like we kind of talked about. What I'm doing differently is I have this little bracelet here. I don't know if you can see it. It says, I choose love.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I choose love. Okay. I vowed to practice, it's called positive parenting. It's I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's basically just saying in all things that you do, you choose love, You teach instead of just punishing. You focus on their positive aspects, not just their negative, I'm a firm believer in getting down on my child's level and treating him as a person, I guess, and not like an object, like I own him like some parents do. It's just a really big thing to me, I guess.
It's you basically just repeated exactly what we speak about all the time. Meg and I have been going over this exact wording a lot. I've always been, since I was a kid, you can tell me no, just tell me why, right? Just please tell me why. Explain
exactly.
it. So then I learn from it. Just tell me yes or no, and then tell me why. Don't just say yes or no. Don't just say it's because I'm your parent, or don't just say it's because I'm your teacher. Just tell me why. And, I made a decision, which is hard, in the social media age. I made a decision, it feels like almost a year ago, not to watch the news or read the newspaper anymore. It's just a decision I made, and I actually started it as a test to myself, because the truth is, I don't know if the stats are correct, but it's like 70% of our self-talk is negative. It's just really hard to not be negative to ourselves. So to then have the newspapers, and the news every day basically telling you how incredibly awful the world is, you're starting in a really negative position before you go into to try to get to the positive every day. So my theory is always, if it's big enough, if it's a huge deal, I'll find out about it. Somebody will stop me on the street and say, there's a Cloverfield monster coming around the block. Like, you know, or there's a zombie apocalypse. You know, somebody will tell me. I don't need the newspaper for it if it's a really big deal. If it's not, I don't really see the point. I'm kind of concerned with, you know, my friends, my family, my people in here, and making everybody happy and positive. And again, with social media, it's a little harder because things come up all the time. And more, the way society has gotten, as we've become comparative. It's really hard not to compare yourself to people anymore when it's being thrown in your face at all times. You know? So I believe positive parenting is really essential. So I think that's absolutely incredible. And congrats.
Exactly.
I love that. So Flo, we heard your story about the 5K. What's next? What's next?
I'm really just working on myself. Like, I did the same thing. I don't want to be surrounded by negativity, and I've just tried to fill my life with just the positives and you know, be an example to my kids. I mean, my career is helping others, and you know, I volunteer a lot, and you know, I've always been giving, and you know, sometimes that's to the detriment of my own self. So you know, I have to work on that, and I think, you know, just by running that race, I know I can do it, and you know, maybe I could do 10K, and you know, maybe I could do, you know, a push-up challenge for the boot campaign one day, right? Or I'm just trying to, you know, be healthy and improve. I just know that it'll be like, you know, it'll just be like a snowball effect, that it's going to just pour off into other aspects of my life, and, you know, make my children happier and be role model to them, make my, you know, husband happier. It just, it's just trickling out, and, you know, I've seen the effects so far, and you know, it's good, and that's how I've, you know, committed to changing my life over the last 6 months.
Well, they say everything starts. It's not about when people, you know, want to change things, and I can only speak from my own experience. It's not the actual doing of it. It's the decision when you make it in your head. It's that. You might not even start doing something until 6 months later, but it's when you make the choice. It's when you truly make the choice in your head that you go, yeah, that's going to change, or that's over, or this is the new thing, or I'm going to do better in this. It's when you truly make the change in your head. And, you know, you doing that, and I can, again, only tell you this from example of my own life, when you do that for yourself, everybody in the world will, everybody in your world will be affected in a really positive way. And some might not in the beginning. People get kind of threatened, you know, sometimes, and that's okay. But that's a good thing. Be a mirror to other people. I think Andrea was the only person I didn't hear from, correct?
I went missing on accident. Sorry.
We know what happened. We know you were just done with us. You didn't want to hear Bridget talk anymore. I get it.
Yeah, I just decided to leave. So what am I talking about?
So basically, just, you know, what you want to accomplish for yourself. You know, I mean, like, you know, in the small sense, not like grand, you know, scheme things. Like, what do you just want to do? Like, you know, as in, you know, whether it be changing something in your own life, you know, that affects. Because what people don't understand is it's not a selfish thing to say you want to change something in your own life. Because believe me, changing things in your own life affect other people. I guarantee you that. So it's either changing something in your own life, or how you want to, you know, help out others, and, you know, these little goals that you have for yourself.
Yeah, well, right now, it's been kind of a crappy couple of months. I recently got unemployed, came in and got laid off. So I'm just trying to find my place, like where I belong, like what I can do. And I've always been trying to figure that out. Like, what job can I do? I just want to help others. I want to serve a purpose. And, you know, just find where I could do the best and be happy with what I have. Like, sometimes I just struggle and, like, get negative about myself or my situation, and I want to still be positive, but, like, do the best I can. And that's just, I learned that lesson from a friend a while back. He just always told me, like, be happy with what you have, where you have it, and be happy with, you know, what you can do and where you can do it, even if it's not a lot. Just be satisfied with that, because I always think I want to do better, I want to do bigger, I should be able to do more, and I should realize that even like the little things that I can do are still meaningful.
Yeah, and I think that to me that's everything, right? Because that everything is making that choice. You know, you're so aware, right? You're aware of what you want. And most people, you know, are just, you know, I always say, just don't live in the matrix. Most people live in the matrix. Just step out of it. You know, read the back of boxes of what you're eating. Like, know what's happening. You know, just be more aware of what's going on, and everything will be okay if you just are aware. Most people are not. They're just meandering through life, you know, not knowing what's going on, staring at their phone, and have no idea what's happening. And there are a few that, you know, step out, and those are usually the ones that make a difference. That was all. Anybody have any questions before we wrap this up? Anything at this point? Go. If anybody
What's your favorite Danino's pizza?
My favorite Danino's pizza is the clam pie. It's absolutely incredible. It's their signature pizza, and it's unbelievable. That, or I haven't been able to. Megan is now about to run out and get. Megan is obsessed with Danino's. Don't let anybody tell you different. So is everyone on Staten Island, and in New York City apparently at this point. Yeah, the clam pie is absolutely ridiculous. Go ahead. Next.
Is there any SOA projects in the works?
You know, it's funny. I was just, you know, the guys who came to pick up my bike. Can you imagine this? The movers who came to pick up my bike had an SOA wallet, and the other guy had an SOA T-shirt on. So when they found out it was me, they were like literally didn't know what to do with themselves, and I had to get them to calm down for about 10 minutes, which was so peculiar, and it was so fun for them, you know, but just really bizarre, you know. They asked me, it was so funny. These guys were so crazy. Yeah, you know, we were talking about it, and it's the first time I thought about it. I really, 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 really hope Kurt does the prequel, because I'm a huge fan of the show. I'd really like to see the origination of it. John Teller in the 70s, kind of like how the club started, coming back from Vietnam, that whole thing, and him entering Charming, alliancing with Clay, and seeing them all young and stuff. I think that it would be, even if it's a one-season miniseries, I think it would be terrific, and I'm always going to try to get the part of the young Unser. So, be careful.
Good question.
Yeah.
My daughter and I are going to go see Tommy Flanagan.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks. He's doing a fundraiser up in Wisconsin. Is there anything that I should...
I can tell you 100 things. The first is be careful. Tommy is the sweetest soul in the world. You know, I just said this the other day. They don't make him like him. He's an incredible human being. In his heart, he's such a loving, tremendous person, and he's been texting me left and right about parenthood. So. Just tell him you and I talked. He's Anjanu, his daughter is.
And he's got such a heavy accent that it's an open bar. But I told my daughter, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to drink, because if I'm drinking and then trying to figure out what he's...
Oh, you won't be able to understand.
Like, can I have closed caption, please?
No, I want him to have, you know, he's going to start wearing like a computer subtitle.
Exactly.
But meanwhile, after all these years, I literally understand. I never understood it, because I understand every single word he says, and maybe because I was a huge fan of his before from his films. But he's a true... he's just a great dude. I miss him. I can't wait to see him in a minute.
Watch Sons of Anarchy. Every time he would talk, we sincerely would have to rewind it and then watch it like 3 times. We're like, what? I don't know. What did he say? I don't know. So.
Yeah, it's funny how people are, and then some people understand every word of it. I know. We hear that all the time. It's a trip. It's a trip that his accent is. I love his accent.
Oh, and do you have names picked out for your child?
We do actually, yeah. We're kind of prepared on both levels, you know, and we learned the hard way probably about, you know, 6-7 months ago that, you know, you got to keep names to yourself because everybody has name association.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Everybody will associate a name with something,
Yep.
no matter what.
It's good or bad.
Good or bad, they're just gonna associate it, and you know, it's really funny. We have a friend that has a son named Jackson, and the first thing they always say is it's not after Sons of Anarchy. Like it has nothing to do with that. And it's really funny that they have to like give that disclaimer before they say the name. You know, and it's just so everybody has something with a name. So we're just gonna keep ours locked up. And especially because we don't know what it is, so whatever the other one is, I got to keep it hidden until, you know, hopefully there's another one coming out.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah. We had twins, so you never know. See, we should have, you know, we should have went for twins. We would have had all these problems solved.
I can't get into it.
All right, go ahead, Andrea. I think your question.
So you've mentioned that you don't know what your baby is going to be.
Right.
And everyone always says, oh, I don't care what sex it is, you know, I just want a healthy baby. But, like, deep down, you either always are like, I really want a boy or want a girl. Like, which way do you feel?
You know, it's funny. We again, these are discussions you have all the time when you're kind of not in the know about it. I think both come with their own unique, beautiful, and their own, like, they each come with their problems and they each come with their own beauty. I can see the positives and negatives to both, you know, and I want, we want a really big family, so I'm okay with, I really am okay with either because, you know, this isn't like a one and done for us. So I don't know, you know, at this point, honestly, I was raised by women. You have to understand that, right? You know, my mom, my sisters. I was kind of raised by women, and I'm not saying this because, you know, this is like the Spice Girls concert with all the ladies. I truly do feel, you know, from watching how my mom was, you know, as a single mom for a little while and all that. Women just, you know, kind of get it done and kick ass, and you know, if anybody's been winning the last, you know, 10 or 20 years in life, it's been, you know, women. Men are just making fools of themselves left and right. So there's positives and negatives to both, I would say.
Yeah.
Bridge.
Oh, I don't have any more questions.
Okay, good. There we go. Look at that. See, that's why Andrea dropped out, and now you don't have any more questions. And Sam, anything?
No, I'm surprised to say that, but no.
No, it's good. Positive parenting is all. I just want to thank you all. I love doing these things, and I think that they're great. And there's a bunch of stuff coming up. There's a million things coming around. We'll have some bad hurt news soon, real soon, and for that film. And then there's I think 2 other. There's just a lot of stuff going down in that world. And then GoGetItLIFE is just always doing its thing every week, and we have a lot of new stuff that's coming up. And then more importantly, there's a baby coming really fast. So thank you guys so much. It's truly a pleasure, and thanks so much for participating in this.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.